was once said that wearing a cap makes you code faster, but I think it just makes me look cooler. So enough of the joke. Today the video dropping what you all been waiting for. HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Is the standard markup language for creating websites and web applications. And every website you have visited in the past contains some HTML code in it. And today we are gonna learn how to write the same HTML code. So we'll be covering a variety of HTML tags elements, including HTML forms and HTML tables. Also, at the end of the video, I will show you a very powerful tool and a very useful tool that you can use to debug your HTML code. So if you are writing any HTML code and have an error, I'll show you a tool to easily use so you can detect and rectify your error. So why not we get started?
Before you write any HTML code, you actually need a place to write the HTML code. Such programs are called code editors. There are a variety of code editors out there, but in this tutorial, I will stick with Visual Studio Code and I recommend you doing the same thing. So if you are a complete beginner and have not got Visual Studio Code yet in your laptop or personal computer, follow me to download Visual Studio Code. So here I am in Firefox. Use any other web browser you feel like. Go ahead and type this URL. After typing, hit enter. So here we are in the website, official website for Visual Studio Code. Now depending on the operating system, go ahead and click on the download button if you have not got it yet. I got it on my PC, so go ahead and do that. So after downloading it, make sure you have it installed on your laptop or personal computer. The next thing we need to do, we need to create a folder. This folder is gonna contain all our files that we're gonna code on HTML. So I will right click on any site and go to new and then to folder, and I will name this folder HTML course, and I will hit enter. So I will right click on the same folder and then I will open with code. So you'll probably see it around this end here. Else you can do the same thing. If you right click and didn't see it, if you right click and see it here, just click on this with code. But if you didn't see Visual Studio Code, then copy it, type Visual Studio Code if you already got it downloaded, and select it. So here we are on Visual Studio Code. Let's make sure we open Visual Studio Code with the folder that we already created. So I will click on File on top. Okay, let me zoom this a little. I will click on File and then I will go to Open Folder. So remember we already copied the folder we created, and I will press the shortcut Control V to paste it, and then I will select folder. So Visual Studio Code is gonna open the folder that we have created now. So inside Visual Studio Code, there are a couple of things we can do to ease our work. First, let's go ahead and download a few extensions. Come to the extensions here, and then type for Live Server. This is a very useful tool, and it's gonna save us a lot of time from refreshing. Okay, so you will probably see a download install button around this, and here it is. So click on it. So as you can see, it has been downloaded a million of times, more than a million of times. It's very useful. So click on download. So after it is downloaded, let's go ahead and close the extension tab, and let's click on this. So as I mentioned earlier, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. So let's go ahead and create a HTML file. So using this here, I will click on this and I will name my file. Let me extend this a little. I will name my file index.html. So remember, HTML files always end with .html. That's the appropriate extension. So do not forget to do not make mistakes on this. And after that, I will click enter. So our file is created here.
So go ahead and type this as I am typing inside the HTML file. So quotation mark and then type HTML. So don't worry, I will explain this soon. Okay, so what this doc type HTML means here, this is the document type this is the document type declaration, and what this is telling us is that hey, this HTML file here is written in the latest version of HTML. There are multiple versions of HTML, and the most recent version of HTML is HTML5. So this just tells the browser that this HTML document file here is written in the latest version of HTML, which is HTML5. And HTML consists of tags, so it has opening and closing tags. So this let's forget this for a while now. This has no closing tag. It's just the document type declaration. It's a self-closing tag. But if you realize here, this is HTML. This is the opening tag of this HTML, and this is the closing tag of this HTML. And the difference between the opening and the closing tag is the closing tag has this slash here. So inside the opening and the closing tag here, let's go ahead and type head, close it. Okay. So one thing amazing about HTML is that tags can be nested inside another tag. So if you can see this HTML tag starts from here and it closes here, but inside it there are several other HTML tags. So there is this head here. So inside the head we'll have some other things, but let's just come now and type body. Okay, fine. So coming back to the head, we have here several tags. So one important tag we have is the title of the document. So the title is the thing that will appear on the title bar on top of any browser. So let me give this of HTML course. So now, because we downloaded live server, let's go ahead and open this file to see what we just did. So I will right click and I will go to open with live server. So it's gonna open this on a web browser. So as you can see, there is nothing yet here because we have not done anything. But if you notice the title on top here, it says HTML course. This is because of the title that we just gave it. So coming back to the body here, let's first begin with HTML headings. So type H1 and press tab, and then I will say this is heading 1. So I will close and I'll go to the our web browser. So because I opened this with live server, you notice that it just refresh. I do not need to click on this refresh button here. This is the essence of the live server. So this is heading 1. So actually headings are used for multiple purposes. It can be used as the big banners and text that appears on top as you visit a website. So in HTML we have a list of headings. We have from heading 1 to heading 6. So I will type H2 and I will say this is heading 2. So I will copy this. So let's try it out to H6 and H3. This is heading 3. H4. This is heading 4. H5. This is heading 5. And H6. This is heading 6. So if I save and go back to browser, so here you notice that H1 is the biggest one and it just increase, in descending order until H6, where we have H6 as the smallest. So I'll go ahead and remove H2 to H6, and we also have something called a paragraph tag. So it's a very common tag used in HTML, and it's used to enter or write large chunk of text or anything just text. So to insert the paragraph tag, you need to type the and click tab. So let's type a random number. So if you are using Visual Studio Code, type lorem to generate some random words. Type lorem and then press tab. So what this does is it generates a list of random numbers. Let me just like this. Okay, let's save this and go back to our browser. So as you can see, what the lorem does is what the paragraph does is quite different from the heading, and this is not actually bold. So it's just a place for adding paragraphs. So we also have something called a comment, and a comment actually does not necessarily have any impact on the code. The main purpose of a comment in HTML or programming in general is for people to document their code, or other people reading their code to understand what this code actually does, or it can be also used as a pseudo code. So to insert a comment, we need to type this. So Visual Studio Code will automatically close it for you. So I will say this is a paragraph tag. Paragraph. Okay, this should be H. It should be like this. This is a paragraph tag. So if I save this and go back to my browser, and if you notice it has no impact here, honestly. So this is just for other developers, or if you want to document your code. And honestly, you do not need to insert comments all the time. You only need to insert it where they are necessary. So I will comment this. I will say this is a heading. Just for now, we can differentiate what we are doing. This is a heading. So we also have something called list. So click on. Okay, so lists are very helpful in HTML, and they are quite divided into different types. We have ordered list, and we also have unordered list. So to insert ordered list, the main difference is that the ordered list is numbered from one numerically or alphabetically, depending on what you want, and unordered list is just bullet points. So to insert an ordered list, you just need to type OL and press tab. So right now, this ordered list, it also needs list elements inside. So we can type li one. So I can say oranges. Never mind, just inserting some random words, and I can say mangoes. I can say pawpaws and bananas. Okay, saving this and going back. And so if you notice what this actually does, the ordered list just numbered it from 1 2 3 4. So you can also alter this. So instead of okay numbers, you can give this alphabetically order. You can give this a type of a. You can choose from this list. For instance, if I choose a, so now it's A B C D. Or if it was number, I can give this currently it's number, right? So I can give this a starting point. So I can give this a starting of, let's say 23. So it starts from 23 and then it goes to 26. So you can alter this. So moving on to the unordered list, as I said earlier, the difference is that the ordered list is numbered and the unordered list is just bullet points. So it's just UL and then type UL and press tab. So we need to type LI and let's just do the same thing. So oranges, mangoes, we have pawpaws, and then we have bananas. So if I go back to my browser, so you see the main difference is that this is numbered and this is just bullet. So next let's move on to anchor tags. So a comment also anchor tags. So one of the main use of anchor tags is it links our website to external sources, to other websites or other resources, or for emails and telephones and different stuff. So if I want to insert an anchor tag, I need let me type a, okay, let me a, and let me type href, and I need to close this now. So let me explain what this does. This href stands for hypertext reference. So if I should type here, let's put this inside a pair of p tags, right? So I will code this for now. I will type p and I will type click this. So if I want to insert a link here, I need to paste what we did here. Click this to link. So we have exit the anchor tag now, right? Click this link to visit my website. So if I save this and go back to my browser, so if you notice this link, the link here, it changes to a link, right? So it's underlined, and if you hover over it, it gives us some information below about the link. So if I want this to link to somewhere else, so if I want this actually to link to somewhere else, I need to put a resource where this should link. So for instance, I will paste the URL of my website, and if I should save this and go back to my web browser, and if I click the link now, you notice it takes me to my website. So it now changes to blue. A blue one indicates that it has visited, and a purple one indicates it has not been yet visited yet. And we can also do a variety of things here, honestly. For example, if you want this to open to a new tab, you need to add a target of and then blank. So now if I click on this, you notice it opens to a different tab here. So I'll close this. Now we can also include emails. We can lead to emails in an anchor tag. So for example, I can say a list of paragraph tab click here to email me, and let's go and enclose this here in anchor tag. So href equal to sign, and then we will close it. So it closes for itself, and I will paste it here. So now what we need to do actually, so if I should save this, it says click here to email me, but if I click on this, it just refreshes because we have not added anything yet. So I'll go ahead and add something. So in order for it to lead to an email, so we need to do this first, mail to, and put the email yellow journal at gmail.com. So now if I save this, go back to my browser, if I click on this, we notice it will actually take me to my email based on your settings on your personal computer. So it's asking me to choose either Gmail or Yahoo. So I will cancel this. So now coming into one of the most important stuffs and used stuffs in HTML, which is HTML forms. So this is where we'll spend a little bit of a time. So I will add a comment also, and I will say form. So actually I'm gonna type form. I will close it, so it's closing itself. And inside a form, if you think, we know that we'll have several steps there inside a form. We do have text, we do have emails, we do have passwords, we do have numbers, we have different kind of stuff in a form. And we do also have labels. So we are gonna try most of them here. So first let's try out for label. Let's call the label name and name. So what this label actually does is just label similar to the paragraph tag, but it represents what an input type or something beneath it means. So name, and will input an input type. So input type for text. So name is gonna be text. We save it, and we see the input type here, right? Name, and it says text. I will include some in here. So we can also give this a placeholder. Placeholder, it says enter your name. So here's the placeholder. So let's move to the next one. Let's add another label. So in this one, we'll give this a label of email. So it's gonna be email, and we add an input type for email, for email, and that placeholder is gonna be enter your email. So if I save this and go back to our browser, we see this. So this is boring. Let's bring the email down. So we also have line breaks in HTML. So to add a line break, we just need a pair of self-closing BR tags. There has no closing tag. Save it, and now we notice it's down. So they are very close to each other. We can also bring it further down by adding an additional self-closing BR tag. So now it's a little bit down. So now let's see the difference of this. Let's go ahead and add a submit button, because we know forms always has a submit button, right? So let's go ahead and do that beneath input type submit, and let's give it a value of submit form. Save it, go back to our browser. So now if we click on this, nothing happened, right? So we can give this a value of required to make sure that the user won't submit this form unless he enters some values here. So for instance, in the label for name, we can actually go ahead and give it required at the end. So save, go up to a browser. Now if you didn't enter anything and we click on this, it says please fill out this field. So we need to enter this. And for submit, so now it will go because we haven't set anything for the email. But for the email, now notice something here. If I enter a wrong email, which is not a valid email, if I happen to submit, okay, the required is here. Let me go ahead and get rid of this required to show you something else. So if I were to submit it, write a wrong email, which is something that is very wrong, and type this, it says please include an at in the email address. So this input types here, this browser, the web browser, notice the input type to emails and make sure anytime you try to type something, it must be as the way an email always looks like. So let's bring our input type for some form down. So now it's down. Okay, let's bring it additional down. It's very close. So it's down. So let's go ahead and add other input types. So let's go ahead and give this a label of password. This is gonna be password, and input type here is gonna be password. So placeholder of enter your password. Enter your password. Save it now. Back to our browser. Okay, let's give this self-closing PR tags. So okay, we did it before the password. It should be after the email. Now saving this. Now notice if you try to type in a, a password, what happens? I will zoom this. So immediately you type it, immediately hiddens because we change the input types to a password. So let's go ahead and add another input type for date. So we're gonna have a label for date, and here is gonna be date. So the input type now it's gonna be date. So no need for a placeholder now. So let's also go ahead and bring this down. So the self-closing PR tag. So we see now the date is very interactive. The browser notices it and changes the way it appears. So you can select anything on the date. So let's go ahead and add another thing. Let's add an input type for a quantity. Let's say a number. Let's add this br tag. So the next one will go down and give this a label for, let's say number or quantity. They are mostly used for buying of items. Let's say quantity, and let's change this to quantity. So I will hit and I will type input type for now. So now it's gonna be a number. I will save, go back to my web browser. So we see it says quantity here. So here we can use this and we can go below a negative number and we can go until above. But usually we don't need negative numbers when ordering stuff. So we can give this a minimum and a min and a max. So we can give this a min of 0 so it doesn't go above and a max of 99. So we'll save this. So now if I try to go below 0 it won't, and if I try to go above 99 it won't. So we also have another form element called a select. So where we actually have a drop down list. So the select option it has, okay, let me dismantle this. Select. So it has options in it. So currently if I save, there is nothing in the select. Let me bring it down. The self-closing BR tags, don't forget to bring it down. So currently the select tag, there's nothing here, right? And you forget a label for it. So let's add a label. A label is gonna say class. So it's gonna say, it's gonna ask for the class. So if we save this right now, there's nothing here, right? So let's go ahead and add some options for it. So we can add an option. You can say grade 10. Another option, you can say grade 11.
And one final option can say grade 12. So if I save this and come back to my browser now, as we can see, we can choose grade 10 or either 11 or grade 12. We also have something called a text area. So let's add the self-closing BR tag. So the next element will go down. We have a self-closing BR, something called a text area. So let's give this a label of description. So let's say the user is going to describe something. So we're going to have a text area. Okay, let me just do it for the meantime. Text area. Okay, this is it. So if I save this and come back to my browser, you see the text area, and you can actually manipulate how it goes, the its width and height. So you can also add some additional stuff here. For example, you can give it additional rows. For example, I'll give this a rows of 5, and I'll give this a columns of 34. I will save my browser. So now it's resized, and you can actually add anything. You are a boy, and everything works perfect. So we can also prompt the user to enter a file. So let's add our normal self closing br tag. So the next one will go down. So now we need to have a label for file and input type of file. And if I save this and go back to my browser, so you see it says file, no choosing file. So if I click on this, I can choose anything I want here. So now currently we can access all types of files, but there's an exception to this. So for instance, if the user is gonna enter an image, we can add this accept, and for example, if it's an image, it's gonna be image slash png. So if I save this now, back to my browser, if I click on choose file, so as you can see now it only accepts png. So honestly, there are a lot of html form input types. So some of them you might not cover them, but you can make a lot of research later on. There are a lot of them. So let's move on to the other html tag, which is the tables. HTML tables. So it also needs this. You need to type table, and all of this data will be stored inside between the opening and closing tag of the table here. So first we need a table row, and inside the table row we need a table header, so the header of the table. So for instance, we can give this a header of name, another header of class, and another header of age. So we can also add some data in this. So for example, now if I just save this, let me save this going back to my web browser. So this is our table right now, but let's add some data on the each of them. So for example, I need to add a table data now. So this information here is for the table header, and the information we're gonna have here is gonna be for the table data. So let's go ahead and add a table data, name of Cherno, table data of class of 12, and age of 18. So let me save this to our browser. So we see now everything is in order: name Cherno, class 12, age 18. So sometimes you also see tables having borders. You can do the same thing here. You need to come. Okay, let me close this. You need to come to this table here and add another attribute type borders. So you can give this a border, let's say 1. Save it to the browser. So now we see everything is in borders. You can also increase the thickness of these borders by giving it a number. So you see it becomes thicker now. So really you can play around with tables. You can add additional stuff. You can add a table header of you can add school and the table data for 8 weeks. it's gonna be Nusrat. So save it, and here is it. You can play around with it and add multiple tags. So let's go ahead and add a footer to our HTML crash course here. So a footer is basically what appears last in a web browser, in a website rather. So I need to type this footer. Let's say P, so I can say no copyright, and I can include a pair of anchor tags here. Href, I will say CBG, and I will say all rights reserved. So I will actually save this. So I will paste the link for my website here, and I will just paste it here. So I will save. So see our footer no copyright CBJ. So I will click on the link, and then it will take you to the official website, is the anchor tag. So I'm coming back to the head section above. There are several other stuff we can add here, which is really not necessary here at your level as a beginner, but I'll just add them, and sometime later you'll get to know what I'm actually talking of. So one stuff that is actually there is the metadata, which is very common, and one of them is the character encoding. So let's set our character encoding for this HTML document to be UTF-8. So it's gonna be meta set and UTF-8. So it's really not necessary to know this right now, but I'll just add this here. And another thing which is very useful in responsive design, to make sure our website is adaptable in all kind of views. So we can add this element here. Meta. Okay, let me go ahead and add this meta name. So it's gonna be viewport, and content, we gonna have this here, and I will close it. So this is very important, and it's found in most websites. So this helps to make our website responsive on all types of view. So one last thing we need to know is how to actually validate. I was saying one thing really important to know is how to validate a HTML document, HTML file, a HTML file document. So for instance, you have a HTML error, and you want to easily detect it. There is a place to do it. So if I want to validate and check for errors in our this HTML file, all I need to do is to go to this URL, type this URL, and hit enter. So you can validate by file upload or by direct input. So in this case, I will go with direct input, and I will go ahead and copy everything here and paste it here, and I will click on check. So okay, let's scroll down to see it. So it's giving us some warnings here. So what this actually, we don't have a real error here that's actually gonna affect our code. There are just some HTML bad practices we are doing. For instance, it says consider adding a language attribute. So this is something you can add. So this validator is telling us it. For instance, here we can add this lang, and we can say en, which stands for English. So it's actually telling us that. And here it says legal character in scheme. Okay, space is not allowed. So this is the anchor tag here, and here it says the table border is obsolete, which means it's actually not it's like kind of out of date. It's not that used now. So you can validate any HTML type document here. So if I were to copy this same one after adding the language, so if I were to paste it now, and if I were to validate now, so we see now the language attribute disappears. So this is actually a very useful tool. So this is actually a very quick crash course on HTML where we just browse on the HTML. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to comment in the comment section below, or any other questions on HTML or a specific HTML tag you want me to make a video on, just make sure to include that in the comment.
So that was some of the most used HTML tags and elements, but there are a variety of HTML tags and elements that have not been even included in this video. So if you want me to make a video on any other topic, just make sure to include it in the comment section below. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Till then, bye.